A history of violence opens with two men, Jones and Billy, leaving a little shop on the outskirts of town. Because the drinking water supply had gone out, Jones requested Billy to return inside and grab some water. Billy re-entered the business to find dead and blood splashed everywhere. Jones and Billy were part of a robbery ring that frequently targeted small establishments on the outskirts of town. This is understandable given that these little establishments are typically poorly monitored, making robberies easy to commit. When Billy was filling the water, a tiny girl emerged from hiding. The girl appeared to be hiding there as the massacre was taking on. Billy, not wanting to be discovered, took out his gun and killed the poor little child without hesitation. The picture then turns to a man named Tom Stahl, who is planning to build a diner in a tiny town in Indiana. Tom's son, Jack, is a high school student. That day, Jack was observed participating in a baseball game and leading his team to victory. However, while in the locker room, Jack was approached by a young man named Bobby, who appeared upset that his team had been defeated by Jack's team in that match. Bobby immediately challenged Jack to a fight, but because Jack does not want to get in trouble with anyone, he tells Bobby to quit harassing him and embarrasses himself by admitting that he is a coward who is terrified of Bobby. Bobby eventually decided to leave Jack because everyone appeared to find his outspoken attitude amusing. Tom and his employees appeared to be tidying up in the evening, as the shop was about to close. Only two customers were still eating their meals there. Shortly after, Jones and Billy were observed entering the diner and ordering from Tom. Tom then calmly informed the two men that they would no longer be serving orders because the shop was closing soon. When Jones heard this, he became upset and snapped at Tom. Tom relented and served them, not wanting to cause any issue at his cafe. Tom then instructed his waitress to head home first because it was late. However, as the woman approached the door and was about to leave, Billy suddenly sprang up and blocked her, then treated her cruelly. It did not stop there. Jones immediately pulled out his revolver and demanded Tom hand over all of the money. Tom did not merely remain silent. He can easily immobilize Jones and Billy with a single swift move, despite the fact that his leg has been stabbed with a knife. Everyone who observed Tom's actions was taken aback since they did not expect Tom, who appears ordinary and is always kind and friendly to others, to beat crooks like a professional killer. Following that occurrence, all local and worldwide media covered Tom's brave deeds, hailing him as a true hero for defeating a band of violent robbers on his own. Tom's wife, Edie, then picked him up from the hospital and took him home. People appeared to have congregated outside the hospital, greeting Tom as a hero. Even when Tom was at home, several reporters came to question him. However, he respectfully asked them to leave, explaining that the activity was common and that anyone may do it. When Tom entered the house, Jack greeted his father with pride since he had now become a hero. Meanwhile, Edie peeked out the window and spotted a black automobile parked outside their house. She assumed they were a media crew looking to interview her spouse and was unconcerned about it. A few days later, Tom's Diner is back in business. But this time, the diner was filled with fans eager to meet the hero. So many people came. Edie even came to aid Tom and his employees, who appeared to be overwhelmed by the influx of guests. A group of men dressed in nice clothes arrived at Tom's tavern shortly afterwards. Their captain, Carl Fogarty, later identified Tom as Joey Cusack. However, Tom refuted it, stating that his name was Tom Stahl, not Joey Cusack. Carl then removed his glasses and inquired if Tom recognized him now. He still denied it and claimed his name was Tom Stahl. Tom even handed him his identification card. But Carl didn't care and walked out with a cheeky smile. Following their departure, Edie contacted Sheriff Carney to report 3 suspicious males who had visited their diner. After receiving the complaint, Sheriff Carney approached Carl's automobile and interrogated him and his associates. However, Carl stated that he only intended to enjoy the coffee sold there. Thereafter, Sheriff Carney saw Tom and Edie at their home and informed them that Carl was a Philadelphia crime lord known for being vicious in carrying out his crimes. Despite this, Carl and his henchmen are always able to escape from prison due to their wealth. Sheriff Carney then asks Tom if he has any issues with Carl and his goons. Tom then said that Carl assumed he was Joey Cusack. Yet Tom knew nothing about Joey Cusack. The next day, which happened to be Sunday, Tom decided to go to his diner to relax because it had been unintentionally closed that day. While Tom was sipping his coffee, he noticed Carl's automobile stopped in front of his shop and observed him. The automobile drove away shortly after. Tom rushed out of the shop, expecting Carl to come to his house, and called his wife as he ran. Tom then asked his wife to keep a shotgun on top of the cupboard in case Carl and his guys assaulted them. Long story short, Tom arrived home first. Edie inquired about what was actually going on. Jack, eating breakfast, was astonished because he had just learned that his father had a shotgun. A few days later, Edie and her daughter Sarah went to a shopping complex. Sarah, however, vanished unexpectedly while Edie was shopping. Edie appears to be in a state of panic as she searches for her daughter's location. Fortunately, she found her kid before anything awful occurred to her. Carl, on the other hand, showed up unexpectedly. He then informed Edie about her real spouse, Joey Cusack, Philadelphia's most feared assassin and called the Ghost. Carl informs her that Tom was the one who hurt his eye. Edie, who could not accept Carl's words, quickly snatched her daughter away. Meanwhile, in school, Bobby and his cronies continued to torment Jack. They mocked and loathed Jack's family, even accusing Jack's father of murder. Because they had insulted his family, Jack did not simply sit back and fight. However, because of the fight, Jack was suspended from school and chastised by his father. Tom then advises his kid that violence is not the best way to solve all problems. However, Jack responded to his father's words by recalling his father's efforts in the face of a herd of bandits. Tom was outraged when he heard this and slapped his son in the face. When Tom told his wife about Carl and two of his henchmen arrived at his house and told him that he needed to accompany them to Philadelphia because someone wanted to meet him. They had actually kidnapped Jack in order to force Tom to do what they wanted. Not wanting to jeopardize his son's safety, Tom instantly stated that he was willing to accompany them to Philadelphia if they rescued Jack. Carl agreed and then released Jack. After ensuring that his family was secure at home, Tom reversed his comments and stated that he would not be returning to Philadelphia. After hearing this, Carl ordered his men to bring Tom forcibly. But Tom can simply disarm them and eliminate all of Carl's soldiers. However, Carl was able to shoot Tom in the shoulder during the argument, leaving him powerless. Before killing Tom, Carl asks him if he has any last words. Tom then claims he should have killed Carl while still in Philadelphia. Jack, sensing his father's anxiousness, charged in and shot Carl, killing him. Tom was then sent to a hospital for critical care. Edie eventually came to see him. She then confronts him with Tom's genuine identity. With a heavy heart, Tom finally discloses that he is Joey Cusack, a hitman who frequently works for criminals in Philadelphia. After meeting Edie, the one woman he has fallen in love with, he vows to put his dark past as an assassin behind him and begin a new normal life. Edie appears enraged and disappointed after hearing Tom's confession, which he had kept hidden from her. After returning home, Tom becomes even more isolated from his family and neighborhood. Even Jack seemed disappointed with his father, who turns out to be a killer. Following the tragedy, Sheriff Carney pays a visit to Tom's house to inquire about the events that murdered Carl and his henchmen. He appears skeptical of Tom, particularly when reports circulated that he was an assassin. Unexpectedly, Edie chooses to assist Tom and persuades Sheriff Carney that her husband is absolutely innocent, and not Joey Cusack, who is alleged to be a hitman. Edie stated that her family had been in a lot of difficulties since the diner heist, and she pleaded with the sheriff not to exacerbate their troubles. When Sheriff Carney heard this, he grew uneasy and departed quickly. Tom awoke in the middle of the night, while everyone else was sleeping, after receiving a phone call from a man named Richie from Philadelphia. He asked Tom to hurry and threatened to come to Tom's house if he refused. To avoid endangering his family, Tom chose to travel to Philadelphia alone. When Tom arrives, he meets one of Richie's men at a bar, who takes him to Richie's home. Richie, Philadelphia's most respected criminal leader, is actually Tom's older brother. Tom and Richie then talk, and Richie expresses his disappointment that Tom disappeared during their fight against the gangsters in the city. Tom quickly recognized that his previous acts had hampered Richie's potential as a mafia boss who would govern the entire city of Philadelphia. Tom hopes to make amends by returning to work as a hitman for his brother. But Richie turned out to be determined to destroy Tom once and for all. He then ordered all of his soldiers to kill Tom. However, Tom was not a suitable opponent for them. Tom quickly finished out all of Richie's soldiers on his own. When Tom was going to execute Richie, he appeared to want to say something. But Tom didn't care and killed him right away. Tom then drove back to his home in Indiana. He finally arrived home while his wife and children were preparing for dinner. Following a tense and awkward period, Jack began bringing Tom food, and Edie encouraged her husband to join them, indicating Tom's return to their life. The message of this movie is to never give up on repentance and leaving the dark past behind. because everyone has the right to begin a new, better life and see a bright future in front of them.